Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. If you're listening to any of our audio platforms, please give a 5-star review, please subscribe, and please download our episodes. I am very excited to welcome my latest guest. He plays Marquise Howard on Step Up on Stars. He also plays Todd Wesley on the upcoming A Wesley Christmas on BET+. He's the co-founder of Everybody's, and as of this recording, he has over 77,600 Instagram followers. So please help me welcome Terayle Hill to the podcast.
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, Terayle, thank you so much for taking time on your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. So let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
So when did you get interested in performing? How did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the entertainment industry?
Well, I think as I was a kid, I've always kind of had this performer's mentality. It wasn't something that I kind of saw growing up. I didn't grow up in a city like Los Angeles where acting studios and stuff like that were popular and Hollywood was around the corner. I grew up in a small town called Moreno Valley. Actually, that's where I'm recording this interview from right now. And in Moreno Valley, there's a lot of talented folks, but not a whole lot of resources to do anything with that talent. I picked up writing music and poetry as like just my first ever form of expression. And that was something I loved and held really, really tight to. That was something I loved and held on really, really tight to up until my freshman year of college. And then once I had my freshman year of college, I kind of stepped away from music for some personal reasons. And then I discovered acting about a year later. And ever since then, not only has music made a full 360 back into the equation, but acting has done what it's done in my life too. And I get to blend those passions. So it worked out as best as it could have.
And that's amazing because the thing is, I love to hear stories like that of how it started from something and it has evolved into finding to pursue your passion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something I don't take for granted. I love it. And I mean, I've had a lot of like nerve issues growing up when it came to like performance, being in front of crowds, but it never stopped me from doing it because I think the performer in me just loves how it feels. So, I don't see myself walking away from it ever again.
I'm glad you did not walk away from that because you are one talented performer. I want to start because you're so welcome. So I want to start with Step Up. As you know, as some of my audience knows, Step Up is directly tied, is a spinoff, the television spinoff of the popular Step Up movie franchise. So how did you hear about the role of Marquise Howard?
Yeah. So back in 2017, I got an audition for this show, Step Up. At the time, it was on YouTube Premium. And the role was not a very big role. It was the role of Bully One / Marquise. So we learned in that after I booked the role and I got the full script, it was Bully One for a good half of the script. And then halfway through the script, when my character meets Easto, that's when we first hear his name is Marquise. So when I first initially got the job, I think the episode deal was like maybe 2 or 3 episodes during season 1, but the character just kind of spiraled and grew into the character it is now. We're now in season 3. I'm a series regular. And since then it's moved from YouTube to Stars. So the platform has grown. The way that we tell the story has changed, in my opinion, for the better, because Stars just gives us a bigger playground. There's not as many rules and regulations and a lot of other things that go along with it. And again, they bumped me up from a guest star to a series regular. So they give me a lot more responsibility this season. And this is a long shot from episode 1. So I'm grateful. I'm very grateful.
That's incredible, and congratulations, because it's amazing to hear about going from a guest star to now a series character, as a series regular. It's amazing. And also congratulations on season 3 of Step Up.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So you've worked with a plethora of incredible performers, such as Neo, Christina Millan, Faizon Love, and Carlito Olivero. So how was it working with these talented cast members and your ensemble?
Man, to be honest with you, like you said, working with, for example, Neo and Christina Millan, like I grew up watching them both. in the world of TV and television and film. And, you know, just for a moment, stepping out and just saying, rest in peace to Naya Rivera, who was the original Colette. I grew up watching her too. So all of these characters that have played a very integral part of the storyline were also very integral to me learning what the world of acting and TV looks like as a kid, just being interested. You know, I remember watching Neo and Stomp the Yard and in Red Tails and Christina and Love Don't Cost a Thing and various other shows, Faizon Love and Friday and all of these TV shows. And you mentioned Carlito, but of course you have Terrence, you have Rebby, you have Jade, you have Eric, you have Kendra, you have all of these folks, all these young, talented folks that stand right alongside these legends. And I'm just grateful to be in the equation of people included on the cast list, to be honest with you. I feel like for the first 2 seasons, especially, I was just grateful to be around, because to be on Step Up, you have to like not only know how to dance, which I don't, at least not like they do. They dance, right? But for me, I wasn't a dancer. My only contribution is whatever the writers asked me to do on paper. Everybody else got to bring a lot of themselves, as well as like their other talents of really being able to dance, and some of them being able to sing and do music to the show. So I think the biggest jump in working with people such as Neo, who of course not only acts but writes music and does all of these things, to now be in a situation where I get to now participate not just as an actor but as a performer, is also just really, really, really dope as far as writing and things like that is concerned. So it's an incredible experience, man. Like getting to stand next to these folks it's a very affirmative part for me, where I'm at in my journey right now. I don't have everything I want. I'm not as far as I want to go, but I see a lot as far as like where I think my career can go. So working on a show like this just kind of gives me hope for what could be next, you know? And even if it's just more Step Up, I'm looking forward to playing Marquise for years to come.
And that's great to hear, because I'm so happy to hear that, because there's been so many things with stories with all these about like backstage drama, behind the scenes drama. But from the tone of your voice, it sounds that this cast is very solid.
Very solid, very solid. I don't have no negativity to report. Not from me. Like everybody has always been nothing but love, and I'm so happy to work with everybody.
All right. So you had mentioned that Marquise was a bully when he made his premiere. So how has he evolved over the past 2 seasons? And could you possibly give my audience a teaser of what's in store for Step Up season 3 without giving any spoilers away?
Yeah, and that's the hard part, right? I know what's all in store for Marquise, but I'll say just for the entire show, anybody who may have seen it, may have just been catching up, or people who've been around for the whole time, these next 4 weeks are about to be very, 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 very intense. I don't want to give up any spoilers for myself. I just can't. I don't even know how to even talk about it a little bit without giving up too much. But I will say that the show has grown into something very incredible. And at this point, this is the most I've ever seen people online active on Twitter. In my comments, I've seen people arguing online. So for the next 4 weeks, I will say that if you haven't tapped in already, give it a shot. Tap in, and I guarantee you by the time the finale comes, you'll be hooked and you'll be looking for more Step Up.
I really hope and pray that Stars is listening to this conversation, because what you're telling me is like this could have potential to lead to season 4.
I mean, I think every actor on the show wants that. You know, I'm not telling you, I don't know. I'm telling everybody, if Stars is listening, I don't know. That's above my pay grade. However, like if there is an opportunity to come back, of course you want to come back. You know, as an actor, you want that. As a fan of the show, I want that. As somebody who loves just good writing, good television, I studied film in college. I went to Clark Atlanta University and spent all of my time in the film department learning this side of the industry, behind the scenes, on camera. So I can always kind of look at even just the writing staff and know like, oh, they got a lot in the tank if they want to, you know? So I don't know. As a filmmaker, as somebody who loves good TV, I hope it comes back. I pray it comes back. But, you know, that part's not really up to me. So I'm kind of with everybody else who loves the show, just hoping everybody likes it, you know?
Awesome. So let's leave the Step Up universe and talk about your upcoming project. You play Todd Wesley in a BET's A Wesley Christmas. So would
Yeah.
you please describe this film to my audience, and how does it stand out in this current holiday movie season?
Absolutely. I'd have no problem with that. So a major shout out to Octet Productions out in DC. They've been doing great work and incredible films for at least the last 5-6 years consistently. Every year, they have at least 2 or 3 projects that come out on a platform such as that. And by the grace of God, this was one of the next ones they got to do. Wesley's Christmas is about 3 young siblings coming home for Christmas to visit their family, but they're all adults. They have their own lives, and every single one of the siblings brings something to the table. Even the parents themselves have their own storylines. And again, it's kind of hard to hop in without giving up too many spoilers. But what I will say, my character, Todd Wesley, kind of brings some of the conflict, but not in a negative way, just more so as the younger brother, the youngest sibling. You know, your older siblings are going to be on you about specific things, especially if you might have rubbed one of them on the wrong way in recent times. Coming home for the holidays can be a little awkward. So my character brings somewhat of a wild card energy into the house, where you don't really necessarily know where all of his relationships stand in the house. And by the end, you know, it's a Christmas movie. Everybody's going to feel good about what they're looking at. And again, this is another situation where I kind of don't really feel comfortable giving up spoilers. But what I will say, one thing that stands out is another situation. We're working with a bunch of legends who have lent their time and talents to this project. You got Jasmine Guy, you got Dorian Wilson, you got TC Carson. And these are people that, again, I grew up watching since I was a kid. At this point, I'm talking like 2 or 3 years old. I'm watching A Different World. I'm watching Living Single. I'm watching The Parkers. I'm watching all of these legendary television shows that shaped the way me and my entire family, even some of the inside jokes that we have in the house today, come from classic moments on TV shows like that. So to be standing next to them is another incredible feeling. And as far as like how it stands out from other Christmas movies, I won't boast, I won't brag, but it's going to premiere on BET at Thanksgiving. But for those who have the app, they could have seen it as early as the 3rd. And for what I'm hearing, it's like the #1 streamed project on there right now. So, yeah. So people that have seen it early on the app, they are giving it nothing but thumbs up. So once it makes its national debut on the channel, we'll see how that goes. But for now, I feel good about it. And I feel like people are going to really like that project too. 2 very different characters, Marquise and Todd, but you know, 2 very great projects, in my opinion.
Absolutely. You caught me right in the middle of my next point. That's a perfect segue, because I would love to compare the similarities and differences between both those characters without going into spoilers.
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, let me see. For those that may be watching Step Up from season 3 and didn't go back to season 1 or 2, a lot of folks are doing that. And it makes total sense too. Stars did an incredible job of summing up the show if you kind of want to jump straight into season 3. For those that went back, they know that I have a brother on the show. Season 3, there's a lot of conflict between me and my brother on the show. While rather in season 1 and 2, there's a lot of camaraderie. Todd kind of has that same thing with his brother, Chris. Chris and his brother were always very close, but you hear it in the dialogue. There's been a little bit of tension and some conflict there too. So I get to play with the sibling element in the project. And I think that's always cool too, because you have to break into arc. You have to think about decision making. Even the way you actively listen to the scene partner changes the way that you even look. And all of those things are super important. You kind of can see when Marquise is thinking, you kind of can see what Todd is thinking at the same time that conversations are happening. So I think they're both very expressive. I think they're both very opinionated. I think they're both natural leaders, but they, based on even just having older people around them, typically have to take that backseat underdog until it's too late. You kind of have to make a decision and go for it. Both of those characters face that. The biggest differences, however, is your straight up lifestyle. Todd is like a app developing businessman playing with 7-8 figure deals, and Marquise is a reformed drug dealer who now kind of plays security to his older, well, I guess his old, I mean, not older brother, but someone he learned is his brother, basically throughout the span of the season, and dealing with the hostility and the tension that come with his conditioning and how he grew up. So there's a whole lot of internal work on both of those characters, but they live very different lives, and they come off two completely different ways. So I mean, I don't know. I think that's the quickest way I could sum it up without like saying too much on either.
I like it, Terayle. I really like it, and especially lets you as an actor go on two sides of the spectrum.
Right. And I mean, I think every actor loves that part, right? You know, like the performer in me wants to know that I'm doing a good job. The performer in me wants to know that I'm being fed and that I'm doing work that feels good and that everybody appreciates. But that wide range, I think, lets you know as an actor, like you're headed on the right track. They don't see you as just one thing. They can play with you multiple different ways, and you can play multiple ways. And again, gratitude. I'm just grateful for the opportunity to do it. If I never get to do it again, I will never forget or take for granted the times where I did. It's been that gratifying up to this point to where if it was to stop, I would still look at my life and be totally grateful for this portion of it.
Awesome. I love hearing that. So let's talk about Everybody's Ink.
Yes.
So can you describe Everybody's Ink to my audience, and how did you and your founder Ivan Gaskin start a platform?
Well, so me and Ivan Gaskin is like a brother, a long lost brother I didn't realize I had until about 3 years ago. Not literally. He's just a really good friend of mine, graduated of Morehouse College in 2016. I graduated from Clark at the same time, but we came together maybe just shy of a year after that with this idea. He had been playing with the idea of having a media company. I was developing one. And once we linked up, it just made sense to kind of do business together. And we've created this media enterprise with multiple branches. Everybody's Incorporated. It consists of an online network on YouTube where we have a bunch of original content. For example, right now we're releasing a spoken word show every Wednesday called Speak Up. Right now that's performing very well on the network and on social media, but that's a division that's responsible for that. Everybody's network is responsible for that. Everybody's Originals, our film company, shot the show as well as other shows that are not on the network. So it's like a fully functioning media company. We have an apparel line on top of it. We have a music licensing facility called Everybody's Music Group, but it's all under that umbrella, Everybody's Inc. So in short, it's just a multimedia company with multiple branches, but all of those branches can operate, solo or in unison. And it's been going really well in this first couple of years.
That's great, because especially hearing about that reminds me about the evolution. So how not just that. So how has it evolved? Because it sounds like there's multiple elements.
Right. So since its conception, we definitely had a vision for what it would look like 5 years from now. But, even when there was nothing physically out there, we had this idea of what we wanted it to be. And we think it's pretty close to that right now. In its conception, we wanted to make sure that it was a hub and it was a platform that gave people a voice that didn't have one. For example, for that spoken word show, for example, we've hosted over 60 poets over the span of the last 2 years, 3 per episode on average. And some of our poets, including one in particular, shout out to Matt Capone, one of his videos went viral on our channel. It turned into us increasing our platform by like 15,000 followers in like 2 weeks time. But for him, I'm not sure if there are more opportunities that came from him. I just know he kept on messaging us, just grateful for the opportunity. But there's a whole lot of other artists on that channel, the network. It's not just spoken word shows. We have a podcast. We have a podcast on there. We have an interview series on there. We shot another interview series. We release short films every Friday from collaborators in our network, music videos from artists locally. So it's basically just like a platform to just display what people have, but we've created a bunch of different shows to not like create talent shows for people, but it's like it's a display. Let's look at this new talent. And then in the meantime, for 2023, we're creating actual scripted dialogue content and short films and feature films to also air on the network and compete in film festivals. So it's just a round company that we plan to grow over years, slowly but surely. But yeah, we don't really have a limit in mind for it. We just want to kind of work at the capacity we can every time. If we can do these projects in the span of 3 to 4 years, then we're going to focus on these projects right here, and everything that we can't necessarily either afford to do resource-wise or don't have all the people we need, we'll just continue developing it and set it to the side once it's ready to go and those resources present themselves. That way we stay ready, so we don't have to get ready when it comes to, handing out opportunities or releasing content. We're just kind of keeping the train rolling. We've expanded our company out into multiple people that we can tap onto for resources, and we have a nice little team. We're developing, but it's going very well.
And that's amazing, Terayle, because something tells me by looking at all this and hearing about all this that everybody's could be a force to be reckoned with in entertainment.
By the grace of God, that's what me and Ivan talk about. We just went through all of Q4, and we're looking at the top of 2023. We're releasing an interview series on a different YouTube channel that we shot. It'll be season 2 of a show called Paths, for example. Paths was created by Christian Robinson. It stands for Provoking Artists Through Honest Steps. So prior to the pandemic, Christian Robinson would take somebody in front of the camera and somebody behind the scenes and go into these inner city schools and show the students like a career day. This is what this person does, and this is what this person does. One person might work as an actor, obviously. Another person might work in like hair department or stunts or something completely different. And you get to hear about the many different pathways into the industry. So when the pandemic hit, Christian reached out to Ivan and myself, and we were able to come up with the concept where we shot a visual podcast. And this past season that we just did, that's going to be coming out in January, we were able to actually have students on crew, shooting, helping with the slate, helping with audio, helping with BTS in unison with Everybody's Originals, our film company. So even if it's not on the network, it's just content that we're creating and, we care a lot about. The overall mission is just to spread the word on how to grow when it comes to paths, when it comes to entertainment pursuits and exploring all the different possibilities. But it's all in alignment with bringing people together. And that's the whole goal for Everybody's In.
And I love hearing that the students have the opportunity to go and work on these jobs, and especially if they go into our industry, like that's like a good way to build your crew, especially if there's crews coming, or if there's hair departments coming, or like if their costume departments are looking for stuff. That's the best way to grow. And I'm grateful that I got to see, like back in my hometown of Kansas City, I was part of an organization called Mind Drive, which is a nonprofit that helped inner city students learn about either automotive or creative or marketing and digital. So I really like that. And I really like the concept. I'm so glad that you guys are letting these students learn about these options.
Yeah, we appreciate. Well, thank you for sharing that with me, because that even furthers the point. Like I said, as I speak, I'm sitting in Moreno Valley in my mom's house right now. And I remember growing up in a city like Moreno Valley. I'm not sure what Kansas City is like, but Moreno Valley is a very relatively small town when you think about California. It's a city in between cities. It's got like one mall, like one mall. And now they're building out the outskirts with warehouses and stuff like that. But for the most part, I remember when I was in first grade, we were looking at the city map and I didn't even see Moreno Valley on it. And the teacher explained to me that the city's kind of too small. We'd see Riverside, but we wouldn't see Moreno Valley on the map. I'm like, what are you talking about? But that's kind of giving you an idea of what it was like being, for example, a creative in a city where there was not like a whole lot of arts. We had a rec center, but we didn't like hear from the school what the rec center was doing. We had arts programs within the schools, but they were severely under budgeted. I remember when my brother was in middle school, they cut the music program and he played trombone. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a city without a whole lot of resources, but a whole lot of potential. So in my head, I would love to bring an organization like Paths or even the one that you mentioned to the city like this in hopes that we can spread the word and bring some resources to Moreno Valley. But it all makes a heavy impact. If I would have seen half of this stuff growing up, I mean, I don't know. I might be further along in life. Some of the people I know that grew up in this city might have different options in front of them today. So I want to make sure the kids that are here in this city from 2023 and beyond have everything they need.
And that is incredible, Terayle. That is amazing. I have to go back because my brother Aaron was
Yeah.
a trombone player from
Oh,
5th
wow.
grade to 12th grade.
Really?
Before going into tuba. This is my younger brother, Aaron. He was a trombone player from 5th grade to 12th grade, but he's jumped onto tuba and did 4 years at the Pride of Arizona marching band.
Wow.
As a tuba
So
player.
I gotta brag real quick. This picture right here, and it's funny, I don't really ever really have this picture up too much like in the interviews and stuff, but this is my older brother. He passed away in 2018, unfortunately. But when he was in 5th grade, he picked up the trombone and played till 12th grade. He was in the marching band. He actually had like a 4.6 GPA. He was an opera singer. This really right here is one of my biggest motivations when it comes to the arts, because in Moreno Valley, until I met like my stepfather, Big Archie, I didn't have a whole lot of people in my life that were pursuing the arts. It was really just my older brother. And even my little sisters, they're here in the house somewhere, and they have a lot of talents that they have. And the youngest one is interested in getting into performing, and the older of the youngest little sisters, she's got an incredible voice. She sounds like a canary, you know what I mean? But if it wasn't for Tevin, really being in plays, was all sports until like the middle of high school. But him being in plays, him being in band, him studying sheet music all day and night, still managing incredible grades, going to OCU for his opera degree, like performing arts degree. Like, unfortunately he didn't live past the age of 26, but everything that he did in the arts, I keep with me to this day. You know what I mean? It was right here in Moreno Valley where I felt the most inspired, just being his roommate. So shout out to your brother. You said the trombone from 5th to 12th grade. I was like, there's no way. That was Tevin. Tevin got it in 5th grade and played to 12th grade. So that's what's up.
And as you said, theater, your brother's in theater.
Word, that's crazy. Yeah, my brother was like doing plays and stuff. I had never did a play until actually this past July in New York. It was my first time ever doing a play before. I did it at Cherry Lane Theater through the Negro Ensemble Company. Khalil Kane, Cynthia Kitt, Shaquala Gooden, Adiaga Faiza, and myself. We and then of course there was a bigger team. Cynthia Kitt was actually the producer, but we did it at Cherry Lane Theater in New York for like 2.5 months. And man, I was just thinking like, man, I wish Tevin could see this. But I also knew that Tevin was in the room because it was my first play, and I was there for his, so he owed me that, But yeah, that arts life and that stage life and that performer life, it's a real, I can't even explain it, man. It's a drug. I'll be super nervous even doing interviews like this, but when it's time to perform, I just want to do my part.
You're doing great. You're doing great. I need to get you back to Everybody's Inc. really quickly, because
of course.
What are the qualities of do you, Ivan, and your team look for in creators who are interested in joining you guys in Everybody's Inc.?
So this is an interesting question, because Ivan and I were just talking about, leadership positions within the company. And while that's still kind of being discussed, what I will say is we want people who take everything seriously when it comes to the craft. This can't just be something about making a quick buck. This is not about, getting your insights and your likes up. This is more so about creating content that matters to people, giving people a voice and taking the content serious enough to invest in the quality, invest in the process of making it, and making sure that it not only looks good, but it improves over time. Everybody's Inc. is about constant progress for the culture. So as we put our all into the work that we do, we ask our performers and anybody who collaborates with us to care about it as much as you asking us to, because we will, and we'll show up and we'll do it time and time again, at whatever cost, because we love it, But for now, if anybody's interested in working with Everybody's this early of a phase, everybody's just interested in working with you. Everybody's got to be prepared, and it's as simple as an email or a DM with a concept, or whenever we have castings, for example, follow the page, and when we have things going on, we let everybody know. No pun intended.
But. Awesome. So, second to last question.
Yeah.
Where on social media can they connect with you?
Oh, easy. A couple places. If you want to connect with me about business matters, you can follow the Instagram page, which is Everybody's Inc. That's it. Everybody's.inc. Now, the company name, Everybody's Inc. is spelled with an I-E-S, not a Y-S. So when you search Everybody's, EVERYBODIES, Inc. That's it. And of course, my personal page, you can send me a message. It's just Terayle, my first name. It's spelled Terayle. And then there's an underscore at the end. So Instagram at Terayle. And then on my company page, everybody's.inc.
Awesome. And one final plug. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Where can my audience find Step Up, and where can my audience find A Wesley Christmas?
Of course. So Step Up on Stars every Sunday. Really, if you're like me and you really can't wait, it really comes out Sunday at midnight, which is like 9:00 p.m. Pacific time. So I kind of catch it on Saturday nights as soon as it comes out. But definitely, if you wanted to go to bed and wake up Sunday morning, it's going to be right there for you. And then, of course, it lives on throughout. So catch up whenever you want. Start at season 3 if you like, and go back to season 1 and 2 if you'd like. But start at season 1 if you like, and catch all the way up. Either way, it's there. And then Wesley Christmas has been streaming on BET Plus, but it comes out on Thanksgiving on BET at, I don't know, whatever time dinner time is.
All righty. All righty. So, guys, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts. I'm so happy to say this. iHeartMedia Radio.
Yeah.
Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Terayle, Jake-Shake.com, the blog that started it all, is finishing off its 12th year.
Yo, wow. Congratulations. And congratulations on all those platforms too. You know, I'm a huge fan of iHeart and a few of those others. I subscribe to a lot of podcasts. So I get it, man. Congratulations on all your success and many continued blessings throughout the holiday season.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of your success, Terayle. And thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. And guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, everybody, have a great one. Goodbye.
Have a great one, everybody.